Ahoj všichni a já vás po hrozně dlouhé době vítám u nového podcastu. Tento podcast bude celý v angličtině a proto vás na začátek chci upozornit, pokud ještě vaše angličtina není na takové úrovni, abyste zvládli celý poslech v angličtině, jenom vlastně poslouchat úplně bez titulku, tak vám doporučuji koukat se na mým YouTube kanálu, pokud to ještě neděláte. Odkaz najdete v popisku, normálně na Výuka AJ online. Tak se kanál jmenuje a doporučuji vám zapnout si titulky a v případě, že to bude potřeba, tak si zapněte dokonce dvojazyčné titulky. Na to, jak tohleto všechno zvládnout, existuje skvělý nástroj Language Reactor, který vám ty dvojazyčné titulky poskytne a jak ho používat, jak ho nainstalovat a tak všechno, tak najdete také v popisku videa. Takže tolik jenom rychle úvod v češtině a jdeme se na to vrhnout. So the topic of this podcast is kind of like a review of my year 2022. I'm gonna go over my calendar and I'm gonna mention some important events that happened to me during this year. And I might share a bit of story time because some of the events were either funny or exciting or just simply important, and I think it's, let's say, either a good thing to record for myself to listen to maybe 5 years down the road to just remember all the events and situations that happened this year, and also for you it might be an interesting either inspiration of what you can do for yourself. I mean, you can also do your own, let's say, review of 2022. And secondly, it can be a great way for you to practice listening. So let's start with the first event, which happened on the 15th of January. And it was actually my wedding. I was getting married on the 15th of January. Yeah, I already mentioned the date twice, but it actually wasn't the typical stereotypical wedding you probably think of. There wasn't a special venue or special decorations or a guest list of 200 guests or anything of that kind. We took it really minimalistically because neither of us, neither me or nor my husband, actually enjoy big weddings. Well, to be correct, my husband would definitely enjoy a big wedding because he's very extroverted and he loves people. But for me, it would be terrible. Actually, I cannot imagine a wedding with people there. And I know it sounds super strange, but in general, I'm a very shy person. And I think I would break down if there was like 50 people or 50 pairs of eyes checking me out while I walk down the aisle. Yeah, that's definitely not my thing. So what we did is that we our spiritual, aka the real wedding in our perspective, was on the 16th of December the year before, so 16th of December 2021, but the official wedding when I became Krásná, which is my surname, was on the 15th, and we actually said our yeses at the town hall in Žižkov, and there was only our family, my parents, my uncle, and from my husband's side it was his mom, his stepbrother, I could say, and his girlfriend, and that was it. Super small, and it was also super fast. I don't know, it took like 30 minutes, I would say. And as I said, everything went down pretty fast. So now that I think of it, like the ceremony, well, I don't remember it pretty vividly. I was really touched, and I was crying, and I was nervous of what other things could possibly go wrong. Because there is a story that I didn't tell you, and that's the story actually before we got to our wedding venue. And I'm a person who's never late. Never. I hate being late, and it never happens to me. I just don't have this trouble. And so, that being said, imagine what it felt like being late for my own wedding, because this is exactly what happened. The day of our wedding, which was Saturday, our ceremony was at 12, I think. Yeah, I guess at 12. And at 10:30, some of the people or our family started arriving at our flat in Prague. And of course they got undressed, they brought some food, so we started eating and drinking and just like talking, because we haven't seen each other for a long time. But suddenly it was like 11:30 and the wedding was supposed to start at 12, and I was getting really nervous. And to be honest, I thought that the venue, the town hall, isn't that far, and I thought that in 10 minutes we can get there on foot. But actually that wasn't accurate. It took us like 20 or 25 minutes to get there, and we were walking really fast. And so therefore we had to call our photographer, who was the only person who arrived on time, to tell them to wait for us, that we actually that we are coming, and that we're going to make it, but late. So luckily he told them, and it was okay. So we arrived maybe at 12:15, so like 15 minutes late for our wedding. It's crazy, and I am glad that they still had time for us, because there, I guess every couple had like 30 minutes to get married. There were other 4 couples who were getting married that day, and yeah, it was hectic, and therefore I mentioned it went pretty fast. Maybe it wouldn't be that fast if we didn't come late, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We said our yeses, we exchanged our rings, and we signed the document. I became krásná officially, and we became a husband and wife, which was pretty magical. And it's still gonna be one of my favorite memories, even though it wasn't a big wedding. It didn't really cost us anything, and that was a big thing for me. And if you know me, I have a company, I have a successful business, so it's not that I wouldn't have money for wedding, and it's not that I would be a Scrooge who doesn't want to spend money. Actually, it's quite the opposite. I have some spending problems. I spend way too much money. I wish I was a Scrooge. But I spend money on things that I see value in. And spending 100, 200, 300,000 on a wedding that I don't really want, it's just a stupid tradition that people kind of expect. I wouldn't really like to spend my money on that thing. So that was the main reason. After the ceremony, we went for a lunch, which was amazing, and we ate the lunch pretty quickly, because we had 1 hour 1 hour to finish it. Therefore it was very quick, and we ate really fast, which is not a problem for me. I normally eat very fast, and I know I should slow down. Anyway, the reason for it was that we actually went to České Budějovice to get our first puppy, Lizzie. A few days before the wedding, my husband finally agreed to get a dog, and in 2 days I already found a dog. And we spoke to the owners, and they said that we could pick her up on the 15th. So it was an amazing day, because in the morning we got married, and in the afternoon we got a puppy. It was maybe the happiest day of my life. So we went to get Lizzie. She was so small, so cute, and since then our life has changed forever, because it wasn't just me and František, but we were a family with the dog Lizzie. Therefore, basically the whole January and February I spent taking care of her. You know, if you ever tried getting a puppy, or if you ever had a puppy, you know how time consuming and difficult it is, or it can be at times, especially when you are home alone. Because in January, at that time, my husband still had a job and a business at the same time. So he usually left the flat at like 7 a.m. and he came back at 9 p.m. And I work from home, which normally I love and I enjoy it. But at that time, when I was in Prague all alone, it was terrible and I hated every minute of it. And thanks to Lizzie, I finally stopped feeling that alone. And also, like, during January, February and March, I was pretty depressed from living in Prague, and I really wanted to go back to Pilsen. For me, it was super difficult because I really hated the flat so much. I know that when I compare it to other flats in Prague, it was definitely still good. Like, well, actually I can't complain much, but if I compare it to my flat in Pilsen, it's like apples and oranges. I cannot really compare it. And therefore I was like homesick from Pilsen. And I know that I couldn't go back to Pilsen because it would mean I would have to leave my husband. And of course, I would never leave my husband to just move to a different place. Because even though I wasn't happy there, I was still happier being there with my husband than being alone in Pilsen in my dream flat. And since we had a contract for 1 year, we couldn't just leave. And my husband still had a job at that time in Prague, so he couldn't leave for that reason as well. So there was no other solution to that problem. So I just kind of like had to bite the bullet and just like accept my situation and enjoy Lizzie. And with Lizzie, it was much easier for me. In February, I also cut my hair, and back then my hair was like super long, almost to my butt. And I had it cut for maybe like 30 centimeters even. And that was a big change that I really enjoyed because my hair was in terrible condition. And the haircut really helped it. I also started a cooperation with my fitness coach, or a fitness coach sounds terrible, just like with a trainer, I could say. And I started focusing on my physique again, and it was form of a distraction for me not to think of being in Prague and being depressed of it. So I started working with Anička, and she prepared really hard workouts for me. And I started counting macros and my calories again. So it took quite a lot of extra time, so I kept myself busy thanks to that, and I had another goals to focus on, and therefore the time flew by pretty quickly. In March, I finally recorded my first vlog in English, which is something that I was looking forward to for a long time, but I was too scared to do it because I never felt quite comfortable recording a vlog. I know it might sound strange for you, since you know that I have been recording podcasts for, 4 years now. But the vlogs are different, really. But I am so happy I decided to do it because, but to be 100% honest with you, the watch time or the amount of people who have watched it isn't as high as I expected it to be, but the people who watch it, they are like super excited about it, and I am excited about it. I want to have these memories to watch later, again, let's say 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and to have an opportunity to go back in time a bit. And therefore I do it. So if you haven't watched any of my vlogs, I definitely recommend you to, because there was a lot of a lot of clips from 2022 that actually support all the stories and all the events that I am mentioning in this podcast. In April, nothing really happened. I know that in April, maybe my depression, quote unquote, depression from being in Prague got worse. So I spent a lot of time in Pilsen. I was like going back to back, let's say on Monday or Tuesday, I went to Pilsen, and on Friday, I went back to Prague and so on. But nothing exciting happened. In May, I started getting better when it comes to my mood, because the weather was getting better. And you know, I love spring, I love summer, I love hot weather. And generally in May every year, my spirits go up and I love my life again. So this happened this May as well. And one interesting event that I want to remember is that for the first time I actually went to an extremely luxurious Italian restaurant for 6-course menu. And it was because of, or thanks to, my student. He's a big fish, to be honest. He's an owner of multiple companies, and he loves going to special restaurants, and he's definitely a foodie. And he decided that he wants to invite me and my husband to a few of his favorite restaurants, and the first one was Casa di Carli, and it was amazing. For the first time I tried caviar or lanige. I don't even know how to say it in English, to be honest. And there were some other ingredients that I have, like brzlík, for example. Yeah, I am not really familiar with these kinds of meals, but I was so excited. And even the wine. Generally, I'm not a person that would enjoy any alcohol, and I don't really like wine. But in this restaurant, I tried maybe like 5 kinds of wine, and I loved all of them. So I guess it really depends on the quality of the wine that you drink, naturally. In June, it was a big month regarding my business, because I crossed the I became a VAT registered company, and that means actually crossing a certain turnover. And I know that it means that my business is doing well, but at that time I was again pretty depressed about it, because it meant a lot of extra expenses. It meant hiring my prices for English lessons, for English coaching, mentoring, and all of that. And it also meant that I needed to hire an accountant, because all the accounting bullshit, I have no other word, became overwhelming for me, and something that I couldn't manage anymore. And therefore I needed to hire an accountant, and she is the best, actually. But at that time, it felt strange for me. Some people would expect that I would celebrate this success, I could even call it, but no, I definitely didn't celebrate it. And I came to terms with it maybe in like October, when I finally accepted the situation for what it is. I stopped regretting making certain decisions in my business, and I was just like, okay, it is what it is, let's just make the most of it. And also, I would almost forget, in June I also went to Mallorca. I'm not gonna go into details about this holiday, because I've recorded an individual single episode, and I've also recorded a vlog. So if you're interested in my holiday in Mallorca, I definitely recommend you to watch the video, the vlog, or listen to the podcast. In July, it was a month full of resting and relaxing and rewatching Game of Thrones, because my husband finally left his job. He left his day job, and he started to focus on his business. Therefore, he also decided to take July completely off, and we spent a lot of time together at home and going to restaurants and just like chilling and enjoying life. And I know it's super simple, like staying at home with your husband, but after half a year of only like seeing him on the weekends, it was a big relief that he finally could afford to leave his company. In August, let's say my chilling period continued, and I spent some time with my friends in Pilsen, which was amazing because we were chilling, we were eating really good food. We went to a spa together, to a whirlpool, to sauna, and we were just like hanging out, and it was amazing. And no other, let's say, interesting events or holidays happened in 2022. This was the last one. In September, a fun, interesting event was definitely a wedding of our friends, Tom and Terka, which was actually the first wedding ever that I went to. It's funny that my own wedding was the first wedding I went to, and well, this was actually the first wedding that I went to as a guest, not as a spouse, if you know what I mean. And they definitely did have an amazing wedding with everything, with decorations, with the evening program, with the dance, with the ceremony, with catering, everything. And also right after this wedding, I started a diet with my coach Minika, which was a bit of a shock for me, because suddenly from eating to 2,500 calories a day, I went to eating less than 2,000. Actually, it was like 1,600 at the final stages, and I had like 4 full workouts and 5 45-minute sessions of cardio, and I was so tired and so hungry all the time. And I guess because of that, I also fell sick after 1 month, which was the end of the cut, because I was sick for 3 weeks. Yeah, it was like a constantly like returning cold and cough, and I don't know what happened to me, what bug I picked, but it was terrible. I felt terrible, and therefore, as I mentioned, I've decided to stop the mini cut and go back to maintenance. And I am at the maintenance still, and I'm not planning to change it anyhow. Also, another thing that happened in October is that I finally tried my first own photo shoot, and the pictures turned out amazing. I was a bit worried about it, since when I was a child, I always looked terrible in photos, and I really hated the yearly school photo shoot, and I frequently fell sick, or I found another excuse not to attend. And I changed. I've decided to overcome this fear of being photo shoot and of being taken pictures of. Terrible sentence. And I am super excited about the photos, and actually it wasn't the only photo shoot that I went to this year. In November I had another photo shoot, and it was amazing as well. So I have like 40 really good professional photos to use on my website and social media and all of that. It's a big help. I also started working for the first time with a business coach. Like, you know that I have been doing business for 6 years now, and I've never had anyone who would advise me or who would help me with anything. I am pretty self-made. I did everything myself. I learned everything by let's say doing a lot of mistakes and learning from them, which I still think is the best way how to learn things. But I decided that I am already on a level in my business that I deserve to get a professional coach. So that meant doing a lot of things, changing a lot of things, and doing a lot of work that isn't visible at first sight. But it was all worth it, and we are not done actually yet. We're gonna be working together until the end of February, I believe, and there are still a lot of things to be changed, but the changes are huge, and I wonder if you've noticed some of them already. You can let me know if you did. And the last event I'm gonna mention today is December, to be precise, December the... Oh no, I don't remember the specific date. I'm a terrible person. I have to quickly check the calendar. Yeah, it was 11th of December when we got another puppy, Betty. You have to go on my Instagram and check the stories, because Betty is the cutest dachshund ever, and I'm in love with her, and you will be able to see her in my next vlog that will be out in January. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, I definitely recommend you to do so. And this will be it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and definitely let me know either on my email or on my Instagram how was your year 2022, and you can mention one of the most important events that happens to you that year. And I'm gonna be looking forward to talking to you and, I don't know, exchanging messages with you in the year 2023. So Happy New Year!